What's good with it? It's your boy, Simon Phoenix. This is Shots Fired. What up? What up? What up? So as we slide into another fun-filled, action-packed Shots Fired show, you know me, I'm always digging off in my magic bag. And it took me a minute to figure out who I wanted to get on the show. So I'm digging in the bag, and I'm like, you know what? I got a subject that I want to talk about, and I need somebody who is a professional, intellectual, and has enough common sense that won't make my head hurt. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my guest today, my man, Big Will. What's good with you, sir?
What up, fam? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing real good. No complaints on this side of the street. How about yourself?
Man, I'm good, man. You know, anytime you in the land of the living, it's good. So, yeah, I'm on straight.
Yeah, you sound like how my pops used to say, every day above ground is a good day. You gotta take advantage of it.
Right, man. You know, I've been trying to maximize my days. I wasted a lot of time in life, and so I've been trying to maximize my days. And so, the main thing you always want to ask for is opportunity. And if you got opportunity, then hey, you got more than a lot of people. Because somebody never get a shot. And I think about all the times that I wasted. So now as I got a shot, I'm trying to make the best of the rest of the ones I have.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. I believe that too, sir. That the opportunities that we get in life, you're only gonna get so many, and you have to beat them with their maximum effort. So
Right.
I totally understand that. Makes a lot of sense. But then again, you're a guy who's known for a lot of sense. You know, you want to. I'm just telling you, man. You're one of the most intelligent guys I know. You're one of my brothers I know I can go to and ask them some left field intellectual questions, and they're going to give me something to think about. And if they can't give me something to think about, they're going to give me something to read, or they're going to send me to the next person that can do those things. And for me, that makes it so special because I look at it now, like the older I've gotten, I look at it now like you have to utilize those people. Those are resources, and you are one of my major resources.
Well, you know, I appreciate that, man. I think we come from an era where it's rare, and I tell kids or young people that I work with or that I encounter, we come from an era where the old heads had us reading books. Like regular street cats would be trying to find out some information from a book the way it was part of the culture. Like you wanted to go to school to show what you learned over the weekend or some new knowledge you had. And I said, that just show you how powerful culture is. Because it was in our culture to drop a jewel or to drop some new science or some new information, and a lot of our information came from music and things we heard. You know, hip hop was, pretty big, and I actually was just thinking about this the other day, how the 5% Nation kind of ruled hip hop, and when they was in control of the hip hop, the information was off the charts as far as our conversation and the things that we esteem to be and the things we discussed at 14, 15, 16. Like we still was kids, but the discussions and the topics passed around was totally different than what our kids would be going through. So just like they going through trap music and talking about Molly and this and that, we were talking about the third eye.
Well, here's the thing, though, right? So, just like you stated, the 5% Nation had a lot to do with the first couple guys in hip hop that were on what at the time was not considered black power music, right? So you had these You had what most people think of when they think of Black Power in itself within hip hop. You think of like X Clan, or you're gonna tell me maybe about PE. You don't go
Right.
there, but I'm one of those guys that say. But then you have those other guys that was dropping the same amount of knowledge and jewels, but weren't necessarily Black Power in that thinking. So I'm thinking more like a J. Rue the Damages, somebody like that who was giving us that kind of game. And I think
Big shout out to J. Rule. I tried to battle him when we was at Freaknik. We had Freaknik, and I tried to. Everybody wanted to get signed. You know, me back then, I was a wild boy. I wanted to battle, so I had to. I'm up here spitting at him, chasing him around. He up here just trying to chill. And big shout out to J. Rule. He didn't really want to go there with me, and I just kicked it with his people and just freestyle for them. But he didn't really want to do that with me. And I probably understand more now than I did. Well, back then we young, we savages. So I kind of was like, yeah, he don't want it. But like you're right though. He used to drop jewels. He was see me. Even if I dropped knowledge, I was a problem. I was kind of ignorant.
No, it wasn't that. You were at the different plane in hip hop. Like hip hop has several planes, right? And so you have the battle rapper plane. You have guys who's telling the street story plane. You got guys that are going to control the party and hey, we having a good time. We used to have more lover boys in hip hop, like real lover boys. You know, like Kwame to me was one of the original lover boys. Down there, every song he pretty much telling your girl he about to smash her. You know, and for some of us we never picked up on it. For others of us, we did. So you just happened to be in that battle rapper lane at that time. Right. Not to say that you didn't have the other intelligence or elements that you could have did other things within hip hop as a whole. You just were drawn to that. And that's and to me, that's always level one. That's why I tell dudes now when I watch them in the battle leagues and we discuss those things, I said, y'all got it real easy right now. You think it's hard work, but you got it real easy right now because we had to battle dudes all day, every day. So it wasn't just
all day, every day with no information. It was about like what your name is, like, okay, what's up? And you just going. And big shout out to like you brought up Kwame. Dude, hip hop was so dope, and we didn't separate it. Like Kwame was still hip hop. Nobody said he was soft. Nobody considered him effeminate. Nobody considered him, and he talked about girls. You know, he wore polka dots and dyed his hair. You know what I mean? I think we really blew it when we let people label our music and separate us. Because country music is not labeled like that. It's not separated.
Well, it's starting to be now.
No, that's terrible.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
I just that's a
country music.
It takes away creativity.
Because country music purists are normally upset at the oversaturation of pop and hip hop that is leaked into country music. So they don't like that, and they call that new country. Wow! And old country is your classics and other people who are in the classic energy. They're not really a fan of if you're trying to do pop or you trying to make it sound real rocky. Nah, bro, so that's starting to be separated too. But that's all because of advertising. And that's where our problem comes in at, right? You have this large basically companies that hand out loans and then they're trying to make a profit off their loan. And the whole time they're doing that, they're trying to maximize how to sell that product. And if they can push you in a corner, that's what they'll do based off the idea that if all you're going to sell is sex, then just sell sex. That knowledge shit don't work. You can't sell that shit. That's why when people give me a hard time about me breaking down Eminem shit, I be like, Eminem was giving y'all a whole bunch of game within him telling his story of how the record business worked. That if you're not ahead, this is why you don't get oddball rappers. That's why the platform has all been pushed to 2 levels: gangster, sex. You have to be an established guy to talk that other shit. So I get all that, you know. But I come to dudes like you. I come to guys like you. And I'm always trying to pick y'all mind about some left field stuff and hip hop. So I know you deal with kids. I know you deal with abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation has came around a lot of times about R. Kelly. And we know he's going to jail. We know he's about to eat that time. I know you're not here to defend him. I'm not here to defend him. Let me make that very clear if I make my next points. I'm not here to defend him.
We're not defending. I absolutely am not defending R. Kelly in no way, shape, or form.
None.
He needs to be locked away.
None.
I'm not going out to burn his albums. I also am not forcing myself to play him. But we're not defending him. Absolutely, I know I'm not.
Let me get right behind you. I'm definitely not. Let me make that clear. I'm definitely not. But I have some issues with how things are going, right? And I'm not just talking what I would like to talk about is the hip hop community and our over bandwagon riding. So every time something bad happens, it turns into a bunch of bandwagon riders that don't give us a clear thought. It's just, oh, that person's this, or oh, that person's that, and we hate their guts. And so now R. Kelly's the guy, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm with y'all. But why y'all not upset about, and then I want to ask this question. For me, I just want to ask this. I said, okay, y'all jumped on the bandwagon, y'all hate his guts. He's in a long list of people that we supposed to hate their guts. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, why y'all not asking, where are all the rest of the people that's supposed to be going to jail with him? If how he is the lone person, he the lone wolf in this game. You have a payroll of 40 people with you, but you the only person going to prison.
Absolutely. And so I heard that, and I don't know for a fact, that his charges are more like a racketeering, like a systematic type charge, like trafficking. He actually didn't get charged with the abuse, but the trafficking. And so I'm like, well, this hypothetically, because I don't know if that's correct or not. Trafficking takes a detailed system in place to happen. And so I can imagine that all these girls and young girls who were violated and abused being trafficked. It wasn't like R. Kelly flew the plane, the boat, drove the boat, then got the truck, and then held them down, chained up in a room by itself. There was a system in place. And you have to understand that the way law works, law gets, and the law and the rules that govern our country, they take in consideration the brains behind operations. So that's when you get stuff like conspiracy charges. Now, you didn't sell the drugs, but you knew they were selling drugs, and you made it so they can sell drugs, and you had enterprise in place so they can sell drugs. So when you have trafficking, in this case, you got the face of trafficking going to jail, and then that's it. You got R. Kelly, and then you got him going to jail right now. And we are satisfied, and let's just be honest, it's black people. I'm sorry, it's us.
It's not just us.
We always fall for the banana in the tailpipe. We just can't help it. It's something wrong. It is some things wrong with us, but we are going, yeah, he needs to go to jail. He's terrible. He's the worst thing ever. And nobody's asking a question like, well, wait a minute. Where's everybody else?
That's because
we 30 years into this case. And I recall when it first, the rumors of R. Kelly in that tape, I remember where I was. I think I was at Prairie View A&M. I was in Texas. And I remember everybody talking about the tape of R. Kelly. And I remember being sick to my stomach, like, that was weird as hell to me, right? And I never saw it. That's facts. I never saw this tape. Okay, but I remember the majority of our age group and culture at that time, the demographic, everybody was passing that video around and watching it. Now wait a minute. I remember being an outcast. I remember being by myself. I was a rare one that didn't even want to see it, and I was a young dude, and I didn't want to see it. And it's funny that 30 years later, these are the same people that saying crucify him, and yeah, he didn't go to prison because they got kids now and this and that, but they partook in it vicariously by watching it, and they wasn't even disturbed. Like I'd have thought you was weird. Like I remember thinking I don't want to see it because I'm like, huh?
Well,
and I was like,
well, there's two parts to that.
It.
Like that to me is super interesting because it's two parts to that. I think most normal heterosexual males aren't into water sports. That's what it's really called when people pee on people. Most of us not into that. That's weird. That's gross to us. No, I'm at the legendary Biggie line. So I'm supposed to hit that? Like, no, that's gross. That's weird. So therefore, most of us weren't into that. And then I think the secondary part is what you touched on. Is super, super, super interesting to me. Is that you were the outcast. You was the dude that didn't want to see it. And to me, I knew people was trying to watch it, verify. That's what they was on. They was trying to watch it to verify. And everybody came back and was like, you can't really, we can't 100% say it's him. Like, it looked like close to him. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't for sure, my nigga. It's VHS. And I got a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I never wanted to see it either because same reason that you were on. I don't want to see nobody pee on nobody, man. I'm straight. That's
right.
That's bullshit. I don't want to see that, right? So the next thing I asked was, well, I'm not saying nothing until they take him to jail. This is the second time y'all done had a conversation about this dude. The first time it was Aaliyah. We got an explanation, so on and so forth. We was cool. The next time something crazy happened, did none conspire. So then it turned into we not for sure. This was the universal hood joke, right? You continue to make music. You continue to move. You continue to do what you do. You make it hits.
Let me throw this out here. So now, since we using hindsight, let's just know that there was a system in place to help him get away with all of this. Okay, I want to acknowledge the system. See. We now can look back on it, and it was people helping him do the things he so-called was doing. And I remember seeing the documentary. I did see some of the documentary, and it was a lot of the older women that groom little girls to have sex and threesomes with R. Kelly. And I'm sitting there watching going, okay, she's basically describing sex with a minor, and y'all interviewing her. Like she's I don't like the couple I saw. She knew what she was doing. She was an adult also.
Bro,
she wasn't a 15-year-old getting a 14-year-old. She was grown.
Bro. You arguing to the peanut gallery. You arguing to the peanut gallery because in essence, what you're describing is what the defense should have been on the whole time. Where everybody else at? I'm back to the same thing. Where is everybody else at? Because if you get him based off trafficking, because most people aren't paying attention. They're talking about the perv part, but that's not why he's going to jail. He's going to jail for trafficking. So I'm like, all trafficking got to do is move a person between state lines. That's an easy case to build. Ding. Secondly,
and like you say, let's know how they build cases. Let's just use something simple as dope. A lot of the big dope cases that get brought down, it starts with catching a runner. They catch a runner first, right? And then they threaten him, and then they squeeze him to run again while they surveillance. While they surveillance, you may have higher up runners, and they get to record, and they get to videotape, and then they do the same thing until they can get to the top. Now, this is my point. There was a system in place that actually fits the demographic of America itself, a sick and perverted way of keeping a low functioning but very talented man on the streets. Because you got to think about it. Most record companies want you to have some type of addiction. A lot of people don't even know that. So they try to get you on drugs and they try to get this and that. Here's my thing. His addiction was younger females. They use that to keep him under wraps and focused, and they always got something over his head. Okay, he wasn't a druggie. He wasn't that. But his elixir was the young girls. And guess what? He had people in place, these grown men on video camera talking about how they would go to schools and recruit. And I feel weird getting little girls for him at the mall. Hey, man, you boyfriend too. Come on, bro. I ain't making no damn deal with you.
So
you think they making a deal? They're not making deals with serial killers. If you didn't kill, we taking all y'all.
That's my point. That's my point. That is my whole point. And that's why I bring you on, is to be like, I'm thrown off. I'm thrown totally off based off the fact that there's nobody else. And every time that the conversation is had, it's kind of brushed under the rug is the saying I'm looking for. That's what it seems like. All the time is that. Like, well, we don't know, so this is what it's going to be. And I'm like, wait, what?
Did you peep out the press conference? Did you peep out of all people talking, all the lawyers? Those lawyers ain't from our community. Those lawyers didn't care about them little girls. Them are famous celebrity lawyers that are handpicked for stuff like this. And again, we are pacified with a show. A show. We didn't get justice. We got a show.
Well, I mean, this ain't the first time that someone had made jokes about it. Look, this is what I'm saying. Like, in the instance of how R. Kelly winds up finally having someone do a major investigation on him, trying to lock him up, and then see what he's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That as soon as we got that part going, then when you backtrack, you say, well, how did this start? If you're someone that's our age, you've been an R. Kelly fan paying attention since Honey Love, since Hey Mr. DJ. This your R. Kelly. You've been paying attention. You've been watching him. He done had hits. So this is you paying attention if you in our generation, for real, hopefully. But in reality, they're not. That's where you said the wool's been pulled over their eyes. So what we really had happen was, dude continue to make hits. And every time something bad happened, R. Kelly dropped a hit. Life goes on. So we get all the way up till now, and it pop off. He finally get his case because I laughed about the Boondock shit. I said, now you know it's bad when you are a famous person and they make jokes about the thing that you possibly should be locked up for. I said it doesn't get any crazier than that. I said we're not talking about comedians. Like, comedians are supposed to be the voice of society to remind us that the shit is funny, but it's fucked up. Got to work on fixing it, but there's some fucked up shit. Comedians get to be the raw, straightforward people, a job that hip hop used to hold as well.
Right.
So when you looking at this shit and you're going, okay, well, y'all got him, and everybody thinks in reality R. Kelly is being locked up for being caught with minors, but that's not what he's getting. That's why I keep looking at people going, he going for trafficking. If he's going for trafficking, my G, that means that he was moving individuals across state lines for sexual gratification against their will. That's what that's all about right there in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to.
Now here's a kicker. Here's a kicker. This is why people don't think. So we don't use our brains. We use our emotions. This is my opinion on why you can't arrest everybody else. Okay? This is it's so simple. Let's just know, in reality, most likely, R. Kelly only identified chicks he liked, right? And that's it. That's at the least level, at the early stages, he would handpick on site girls he liked. then his system knew what he would like and started bringing it to him. Okay? Now, the thing is, that system most likely probably helped other people. And if I start busting everybody that's into this, we don't know where it leads to. Because this person could be running for R. Kelly, but also be running for the president of the company. He could also be running for the mayor or the governor. You know, you don't know who else these ones are running for. You think R. Kelly the only one that like young girls?
No. It's yes that, and I'll give you the dirtbag, real asshole answer, right? So the real dirtbag asshole answer is this, my G. In reality, the reason why is everything you said, and you add on this. The CEO's going down, the bus driver's going down, your first baby mama going down, your last baby mama going down, the dude that was security for you going down, his girlfriend going down, everybody going down. That's the reality. That's really what was supposed to happen. But
right.
Everything you said was, this is to keep the mob at bay, because if we lock up all of these people first, one of these people out of all of those people I just named, and probably about 70 more, are going to lead to someone else who don't need that to be in this public either. And then they're going down. So,
yes.
So R. Kelly, you are the sacrificial lamb. The reason why, that's what it is, bro. R. Kelly's a sacrificial lamb. And the real reason why is so simple. And I'm shocked you didn't say it, but I will. R. Kelly's a sacrificial lamb because it's a bunch of people, like you stated, that are on this. And
right.
We got to have somebody catch them a case based off that. That is a bunch of people doing stuff that they ain't got no business doing. Somebody got to catch the case. R. Kelly, you've been messing around long enough. Here's the case. We gonna lock you away forever. We done took all the bread. We done destroyed your image. It's over. You're done, right? And that's the game. And then they're gonna be like, we hope you switch channels and start paying attention to something else while we continue on with our dirtbag and fuckery. Because what we're being told is basically like, well, R. Kelly's catching a trafficking case because he would be flying chicks in under false pretenses and then not let them leave, which would lead to trafficking. But
now, hold on. So, now, since we go on, a lot of stuff is based off of rumors and stuff people said. So you also heard probably about Aaliyah's role and her mama's role. Like they said, R. Kelly messed with Aaliyah's mama.
All of his bowl. I just didn't want to get into it. What I'm saying to you is that's why everybody's not going. It's similar to an argument that I had on Facebook today, right? Where they were discussing R. Kelly, and then someone said, well, Hugh Hefner is bold business. Look at Brooke Shields. And I go, look, the dirtbag answer really is this. No one wants to hear it ever. Let me tell you truthfully. The dirtbag answer is her mama is the person that's not shit. Her mama was obsessed with fame. Her mama went to go take her to a photo shoot, and have these photographs taken of her child. She did this. Then Playboy got a hold to it. The whole conversation then breaks down to later years. Hugh Hefner then kind of figured out how young she was and wanted it swept under the rug, but she was already a star. And at the time, everybody was like, it don't matter, bro, you good. Because her next movie role was her at 11 playing a child prostitute, where normally if you're going to do something that heavy, this is how I know that y'all don't give a fuck when women do it. Normally when you have someone playing something so heavy, the person is a young woman of 23, 24, 25 playing that because she is not, the nicest way is she's flat chested. So she can play a younger person.
So here's the thing. She was a young, and this, I think she's the only one of some more girls, can't think of their name, young white females who were basically molested at that time or engaged in a lot of sexual activities. So the mamas.
That's what That's what I'm trying. Look, I'm not trying to be a dirtbag. What I'm saying to you
No,
is,
you being the truth. You telling the truth.
Is what you said to me about Aaliyah's mom is can be followed around of women doing things where people will pretend like they're not part of the system. You named several times where you and me both have heard of rumors of other women being complicit in R. Kelly getting chicks. You know what I'm saying? Now, me saying that, hold on, I got another one for you. But let me get a commercial break. No, go ahead. No, go ahead. You finish, and then we'll take a commercial break.
The bottom bitch gets women for the pimp. She whooped the other women. She beat the women. She keep the women in line. Sometimes the people even got to touch them. The woman gets more of the victims in some of these, in a lot of these situations. But yet in this one, you got a big show of one man going to prison. Now, to bring it home, there are a lot of local mothers through the years, whether their daughter was cute at 14 and an older 27-year-old dope dealer, 30-year-old dope dealer wanted her, the mama sold their daughters for houses and cars and furs. And that's just on our level. And the same behavior is being exhibited, but we acting like it didn't happen. See,
yes.
By throwing R. Kelly under the bus, now we can turn a blind eye to the reality of how many young women were sold at a very high price. And it might have cost them their own souls. And the parents that turn a blind eye to their daughters being abused. I mean, look, we got right now in your 30s and your 40s, you got women the same age, but who baby daddies are in their 70s. Okay?
Yeah.
The baby daddy's in the 70s. That means, wait a minute, hold on. He in his 70s now? He in his 60s? And you 40? Wait, when was y'all sleeping together? And the child 21? Come on now. Let's do the math. Don't play. But yeah, we feel good. R. Kelly done away with. But I do want to I know you got to take a break. I want to point out some things with R. Kelly. And I want to remove his name, but just explain his demographic.
Okay, we can do that after the commercial break. Let me take care of the bills, baby. I gotta take care of them bills. So let me hit a quick commercial break. Hold your point, and we'll be right back. Stock the Bar Vodka, made right here in Michigan. Distilled from Michigan red winter wheat. The red winter wheat provides this drink with one of the smoothest flavors known to man. Stock the Bar Vodka, premium quality. Our motto is smooth taste with a purpose. And now, the official sponsor of Shots Fired Podcast. Stock the Bar Vodka. Pour up a glass. Drink with a purpose.
Yeah, you know what it is. Shots Fired Podcast popping.
Welcome back to Shots Fired with Simon Phoenix.
Yo, it's your boy Simon Phoenix. My special guest tonight is my man Will Granderson. And we are discussing some of the breakdown with your boy R. Kelly. So Will, please continue with your point, kind sir.
So you have R. Kelly. If you read, read or you learn a story, he's extremely gifted when it comes to singing and writing and creating songs. Okay, but he's also illiterate. Okay, couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't function. He was not educated. He also was molested by his older sister for most of his childhood. Okay, so you got a low functioning male who was given a stimulus in the form of sex from his older sister, his caretaker, his confidant, his friend, his older sister. He was powerless to her. Okay? And he was abused by her. He then in a sense, gets infected with that type of relationship where he knows he's there to serve her purposes. What does it become? When you feel powerless, what do you want? You want power, right? Like for me as a young man, I wanted sexual gratification. Like, ain't no about no power. It's about, hey, this young feel good. Let's do it. Now you go back to think about what R. Kelly did. He wanted to demean young girls who was around the same age of his sister that molested him. He wanted to pee on them. Pee, what? So now his sexual gratification and his power base is based on him being in control now. So basically, I've been abused, and I wouldn't be surprised if she peed on him when he was young. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't be surprised. But most kids who are abused, most boys who are abused, they can't wait till they become if they experienced a lack of power in their abuse, they can't wait till they become powerful. Because it'll never happen to me. Now I'm going to be in control. That go for sex, that go for violence.
Yes.
And so he now perpetrated on women or young girls who he felt power over. Now, a lot of times these individuals are not socially developed. I've worked with a untold amount of kids who were chronologically 17, but socially they was 12, 11, 10. So you may see this 17-year-old, 18-year-old sculpted male, six-pack, pecs, traps, everything, look like he the truth. But socially, when girls their own age or their own within their own age group, on an intimate level, they would know something's wrong with him. Like, yeah, he weird. Some of these boys can only relate to immature adoration from young females. And what I mean by that is just mindless praise. You ever see like a concert where everybody, yeah, I love you, I want to marry you, and these are young. Go back and watch footage. These ain't grown women.
No, you
go back to the 50s.
You ain't got to explain to me. You can pull out so many different artists, and that energy is either pushed off or accepted based on if they had trauma. And that's part of the reason why I brung you here, is to discuss the trauma. For me, I'm just sitting here taking notes. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking notes, right?
Okay.
So when I add up what I'm looking at with R. Kelly, and then what you're saying, and then what I'm thinking the whole time, I'm saying, okay, you got locked up for trafficking, but once we dig into your life, we find out your sister touched on you, molested you periodically through your whole life. You're definitely not dumb, because we know that you're a musical genius, but we also find out that you were illiterate. So that means that people could run all type of game on you. So you've probably been used a lot of times based on lack of information that you knew. And then because you have been used like that or pimped, you finally get to a place in life where you have succeeded so much that you have a certain amount of power. But that still gives me the idea that you would technically be incapable of being the boss of something like this.
Now, guess what? I want to pause you right there. And I also want to point out certain facts. They said R. Kelly money was funny. Like, he ain't had the money like everybody said he had, right? Now, guess what? I'm going back to what I'm saying about the runners and the people around him. To keep him quiet, they made sure they gave him little girls while they stole the money. Dumbasses. He even got the money now.
Look. You just being what I'm normally being. You letting the asshole out because it's so obvious. I normally am the person that's going, There it go right there. That's what it is. It's very simple. When you boil it all down, it would, like I said, it would be virtually impossible for a person in this state of mind with this skill set to be able to run a trafficking ring.
It's obvious.
It would be so easy to lock them up based off this. If this is the brain that you telling me that had this thing going on and this is all he did, you are full of it. And then I cry out again, where are the other people? And why is there not a lineup of women who were complicit in this? Because I always scream out for the sisterhood. As a man who has daughters, a man that's been around girls my whole fucking life, it's nothing weirder or creepier than dudes that want to prey on them before they're ready to enter the game. Right. So I totally can understand when people are like, you need to be locked up and set on fire. Yes, if you can prove to me that dude was running around with 16-year-olds, hey, man, that's fine. Lock his dumb ass up. He deserved to be locked up. Because if it was me and you did it to mine, I'd probably be going to prison.
I'm going to prison. I'm glad you said that. I was about to say that. I'm glad you said it because now ask yourself this. All these concerned parents, right? I'm going to tell you now.
Damn the
my kids,
damn the concerned parents. That I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Damn the concerned parents. I'm turning to womendom. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you.
Concerned,
that nigga should have been locked up forever, bro. Bro, that's my point, my dude. That's my whole point. My whole argument remained the same thing. This is why I always was like, how I supposed to believe this? If you telling me that man doing something dirty with Aaliyah, how I supposed to believe that Aaliyah mama ain't got this dumbass nigga locked up? Let's keep it a buck, right? That's strike number one. Then the next time you married, you got a whole wife. And then they like, oh, this you. And we got the grainy videotape. Why your wife didn't get you locked up? Nope, nobody get you locked up. You got security guards, you have managers, you have people that are handlers, you got your road manager, you have people that's with you all the time. There's no such thing as R. Kelly walking around by himself. So you mean to tell me that nobody gets locked up and you have a lot of women that staff? This is how I know that the sisterhood ain't real. It's only convenient when you want it to be. It's similar to when men got to going, hey man, look here, man. I remember being in high school. It's a shame when every man says this. I remember being in high school and older dudes pull up and y'all jumped in the car. Where was your outrage then, ladies? There's no outrage. You didn't give a hot shit.
Man, some of Grand Rapids' oldest beefs, where we're from, were between teenagers and grown men over girls that they both were sleeping with. Everybody quit playing. Quit playing now. Come on, stop it.
Look, you just
making it. Grown men they was beefing with.
You just making it local. Bro, you just making it local. I can make it unlocal. You know what I'm saying? I'll make it unlocal. I know dudes in my family who is like, hey man, when I was young, I got into it with such and such, because he was messing with my girl. I was in high school. My girl was in high school. He was like 22.
Right.
I beat him up at the Limelight. Like, what? Like, right. What kind of story is this you telling me? Like, when you take a step back, like, yes, I'm interested. That's funny. But why is that the norm? And that means that the women are complicit on all levels, just like you stated earlier. And it's not to throw, like I say, I'm not ever trying to throw shade at them. I'm just always in shock that you'll be ramped up for the goofy stuff, but you won't be ramped up for what's real and obvious in front of you. Like, at the bare minimum, you should at least be saying where everybody else at. Like, fine, okay, you don't want to complain about no chicks, but where are all the rest of the people at? You can't tell me that the dude that can't read, come on, man, what I'm saying is super simple. How you gonna tell me that the dude that can't read was getting bus tickets, plane tickets, was getting hotel rooms, making sure people got paid? How you gonna tell me that dude was doing that? But then on the same hand, you're gonna be like, he was illiterate and they was stealing the money and he ain't got no more money. And
as freaky and sexy this man was into. They have orgies and stuff. Come on, man. You have a
bro,
good
little wait. At the bare minimum, you couldn't even find a cameraman for the tape.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. All we got was he say, she say. He got to defend it. There's no real proof. So you hit him with, I'm telling you, this how it played out. There's no real proof to that. So we going to hit you with the trafficking and we going to throw you under the bus with the trafficking.
We're going to have a commercial and everybody going to be happy. And then we keep going back with our enterprise.
Oh, man,
now,
it's back to business as usual.
Now, I want to correlate this part with the Jada Pinkett. And I made similar arguments when I saw August Alsina, I was like, he's emotionally broken. When I heard him talk, when I saw that young man talk, I said, he is emotionally broken and very fragile. I didn't even need to know his history. I knew something was wrong with him, and I'm like, who would be sexually attracted to that?
Besides knowing that he's a star. Hold on now. Besides knowing that he's a star.
Besides knowing he's a star, but you gotta think sex is an intimate thing, and women are usually intimate. Women usually can peep out other qualities in you other than you just being fine.
No, bro, not when it comes to not when it comes to those of them that are predators. Listen, that's why I make this point though. I'm saying he's overtly fine. He's overtly attractive in their eyes. Okay? That's nothing. He's a handsome guy. But there's women who that don't mean nothing to. Maybe we talk about power. I want to be in power. I want to be controlled over this male. Y'all screaming for him, but I control him. To have a Jada Pinkett you would think that she would want a contemporary, somebody on her own level. Guess what? Her contemporary is Will Smith, a Hollywood icon. He don't turn her on like that because it's not a power. She ain't really got the power over him. Like it ain't. It's like having a, it ain't the power. It ain't the juice. It's like somebody who craves somebody young and emotionally fragile. Because it's like R. Kelly want docile younger girls, impressionable little girls. So I was saying back then when it popped off, she a predator. I said she wanted him because he emotionally broken. And she felt powerful, nurturing him, sexing him, and having him dependent on her. It just backfired because he was so broken. You gotta think about it. Most dudes ain't gonna say nothing. Most heterosexual, like well-balanced dudes are taking that to the grave. They ain't saying nothing. I ain't telling. What? I ain't going to mess this up. Well,
but he was so broken and hurt that when she tried to cut him off like a pimp, he went to the presses like these other chicks.
But look, that's why it all fell apart. You're right. But my take on it is that, but more. See, for me, this isn't her first go round with something that could be perceived as predatory. And that to me is what's the interesting thing, because she's not held under the same weight as an R. Kelly in the public scrutiny. Like once you heard it, people let it go. Like even everything you said, dude said that, girls did not. Women just was like, oh, she had sex with him. Oh, he was sad. That's messed up. Why was you cheating on Will? At the most. It was something that was just like, gone, girl. I'm glad you knocked him off. He's sexy. Right?
Right.
But dudes was like, well, I didn't see emotionally broken, but I was like, oh, he's soft and squishy. You was running him. We seen the same thing, but my brain didn't get me emotionally broken. I didn't take it that far. I just thought that he was soft and squishy. I was just like, oh, I look at R&B dudes, and sometimes R&B dudes are who they singing about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't the toughest guy all the time. You just done went through a bunch of BS, so this how you get your emotions out. And therefore, right, because you're an R&B guy, you a little more emotional than a guy who's like, hey, man, I hate everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's two different energies. I'm cool with that, but I thought he was that. I didn't see the emotionally broken. And so, but I thought the same thing. I was like, this the second time I done heard her with somebody that's younger that's in a less power position than she is. This ain't on same footing, right? So I felt like, yeah, I think she might be a predator. I think she might run up on cats and be like, "I'm Jada. Hey, what's going on?" They be like, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna do something to you."
But you know what's funny? Somebody just said somebody tried to holler at Jada. Dang, it was somebody, but it was a masculine, powerful male, and she put him in his place. And she was like, protecting him, like, no, you don't come to a woman like that. But then it's rumors that she messed around with the young boy from Crisscross. I don't know if that's true, but it's just really ironic. Now, you could sex him, but you're checking this grown man. Like it's like the same thing with some of these older men. You can't holler at a grown woman, but you'll be dealing with these little girls. Because a grown woman ain't gonna like fall for your BS like that. You ain't just gonna get the draws and access to her mind and body just because you ain't nothing. But to these younger girls, because you got money or you got good hair, they just ooh wee. Well, Jada didn't like contemporaries. She kept them in a regular position. But then, if you was younger than her and she felt powerful, she give you all the goodies. Just like a teacher that would sleep with young boys, or anybody in a power position that would sleep with younger children. They have more of a fluid relationship because they're in control of the dynamics they feel.
Well, that is for people who lack the ability to possess control in all situations. I kick that game all the time. Now I'm trying to do everything in my heart of hearts not to call these men what my brain keeps wanting to scream out loud. Starts with a B, and I ain't talking about the cuss word either. That I see that part. That's what my brain says to be, is that more or less, whether you're talking about predatory behavior or you're talking about users and abusers, the same is there. They're in it for the power. And I find it interesting that when men get caught up in the power, you can just hang the one man. It don't matter if it was 455 people that helped him do the thing. And you could do that to the one man and you'll be perfectly fine. But when it comes to women, they don't even get none of that. They're going to get all the slaps on the wrist. Everybody's going to turn the opposite way. Nothing ever bad is going to happen. Because I say that based off these stories that we're talking about here. And you get someone like R. Kelly, and you literally had women being like, as you said, I was grooming her so we could be a threesome with R. Kelly. How you ain't going to jail? And why are you complicit as a chick in bringing young chicks to R. Kelly? All of this is
because
wrong.
First off, some of them chicks like, hold on, man, let's be clear. See, it's hard to say stuff when people don't know. It's like, so some people dibble and dabble in information. And then they talk about stuff that they saw in the news or they saw on Facebook real quick. And you don't really know about the culture. So in other cultures, as far as sexual cultures, it is a good thing to have a younger person. Okay? People need to look up the word gymnasium.
But
you find out what that really means.
Hold on. I just want to make one point. But there's a unique reason on why, and it comes from the idea of purity and why purity is supposed to be important. But like I told a woman today, I said, society's not ready for the real answer. And she was like, well, what's the real answer? I said, a person wanting purity has really nothing to do with the purity part. I said, what it has to do with is expectations. She said, huh? I said, expectations. Here's what happens when you have sex, right? I said, men and women psychologically process sex differently based on the age of the person. I said, for most of us, if you have sex in your 20s, you are psychologically ready to accept the sex you're going to have. That sex that you're having at that time for men and women normally are different. Men go into it like, rah, 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 I want to have sex. We don't know what we're doing. We got to learn how to do it, so on and so forth. Women go into it trying to please that male that she's supposed to be dating. And when she does have sex, she becomes attached because it is an emotional experience as well as a sexual experience. But she
Right.
has nothing to base his sex off of. If she hasn't seen a porn or she ain't accidentally bumped into some penises in real life being nosy, she don't even know what one really, really look like. She has a good idea, but she's not sure. That purity, when you marry her like that, then you get to be the only driver. She's never worried about having better than you based off the sexual experience, unless someone taints her mind. That is why purity is important, even though purity isn't the thing. But that idea, that's why that was important, and that's why that was in play. Once you took that out of play, then you have expectation. And once people understand power, you can play on a person because they haven't had it yet. That's why young people, that's why I'm saying, the reason I'm connecting all the dots is what I'm saying is, that's why young people, when people do nasty things to them, you fuck their head up, because they normally wouldn't have made that experience for another 4 to 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So if you 15 and you messing with a 16-year-old girl and she give you some head, it's probably trash. So you gonna be like, Then you're gonna have a lull of not getting none. You're going to go back to touchy-feelies, right? You're building your sexual experience, so when you're 25 and you run across the super freaky girl that she done been with a bunch of people, you done been with a bunch of people, and she give you the super sloppy toppy, you know exactly what you got. You like, oh my goodness, whoa, she's dangerous. But your mind will be ready for it. And that's what makes older people, when they prey on young people, creepy, is because they trying to blow someone's mind out that's not ready. That causes all that emotional damage.
And to add on to that, though, there's also a physical aspect to it. Some men don't feel manly enough to be able to conquer a woman physically. So her being younger and smaller, okay, and I know it's more, people talk about it now and how women aren't supposed to have body hair. Like, that's all weird to me. And I think a lot of that, in my opinion, come from porn. Like, dude, do you think this porn, you want these younger looking females and you want them to shave and
it does, but it doesn't. I'm gonna be honest, because I'm a dude that like to chase down facts on people. I'm gonna be honest, that's not necessarily the real reason we started off with people shaving their bushes in the mid 80s to 90s. It was more of a, hey man, you kind of loud, ladies, because hair holds smell. And so we got triangles and bushes and so forth, and then you just had chicks just jump the bridge and say, we just
so hold on, I gotta throw this out here. Hair also protects from diseases.
I know.
Now, sometimes the smell is biological. It ain't got nothing to do with topical. If it's coming from the inside, the pH probably is off.
Well, yes. Once you get deeper into that part, yes. But it was in the 70s. It was kind of as my dad's friends kind of broke it down to me, it was kind of the Wild Wild West. So what I'm saying to you is, because it was the Wild Wild West, and neither one of us is that damn old. For them during that time in the 60s, they were running across a lot of loud. And I think it had gotten to a point where it was expressed to, hey, I got to figure out a way to calm this down. And remember, they were going through the sexual revolution. So everything you're saying on top of that, like combined, kind of got us here. Not necessarily just porn, but like if you add that on and then you get porn during that same time period. You know what I'm saying? So everything kind of worked its way into less hairy people in their sexual regions, more trimmed up, more vanity, based off of we're having way more sex. People are way more around other people. They're showing those parts. And then we have women getting into skimpier fits. So then it turned into that you were giving away more than what you wanted to based off you had a bush. Like, I've had women explain it to me in that manner. So I'm like, okay. Because I was like, I've had dudes tell me that they think it's because of porn. And I was kind of in agreement with them until I heard that, this kind of started a little bit before we got into porn like that. And girls were telling me like, no, that's not necessarily how that kind of went, kind of because of these things, because chicks wasn't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And I was like, okay, I can see that. 60s and 70s, I can see that. Motherfuckers nasty.
So So cool. So with all that being said, there's a underlying aura of young, impressionable boys and girls being viewed as sexual objects.
Yes.
That is very sick in our culture.
But it's always been there. That's the part that's scary.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. It's always been there, but now everybody tripping at the one thing that they see. When you still ignore all the cartoons coming out, when you still ignore all the things being taught in your schools right now, why this for me? You can do whatever you want to do sexually. I'm serious. As long as you ain't violate no kid or nothing. But why so bad do groups want to teach kids about sex? I think you're weird. If you're the most heterosexual, I don't care who you is. When you want to talk to young kids about intimate sex and types of sex and orgasms, I think you sick. There's no way around it. You want to drop certain jewels in their mind and open it up. And anybody who sexualizes a kid should be looked at as like we look at R. Kelly. Same way you look at R. Kelly, anybody, any parent, any authority figure that look at a kid's sexuality, I think something wrong with you, and I think you need to be locked up. But guess what?
And I'm going to add to that. Before you get your guess what in, I'm going to add to that. And anybody that's complicit in helping it happen. Because for me, you're worse than the person that's doing it. That's my whole gripe. That's the whole reason that I'm irritated by this, is based off the idea of the people that were complicit in this bullshit happening. That if you tell me, yeah, we found out they did this, and that's the only person you locked up. The people that's complicit, the people that helped it go down, them motherfuckers didn't go down too. I got a problem with that bullshit. I'm sorry.
Right.
Rant over.
But you know what? It's okay because, again, if we want to protect children, then let's protect children.
Well,
if you want to protect kids, let's protect kids. And that means anybody
people
involved with the sexualization of kids emotionally, physically, mentally, whether you want to educate, when you're teaching kids about foreplay, something wrong with you.
Bro, everything you're saying is correct. Everything you're saying is correct. Like, all of that is bullshit. Like, let me just put it in layman terms. All that shit is bullshit. I'm 100% behind you and with you. That is some garbage. Flat out. And all I'm saying is, all that shit and the motherfuckers that helped them do it, all of y'all need to be locked the fuck up.
Absolutely.
And if you're not, and my gripe is always the same thing, that whether it's children being abused, whether it's women being abused, whether it's men being abused, when people are being abused and you don't give a shit, all you're doing is making a person go out and abuse someone else. They're going to repeat shit, whether they do it to other people or they do it to their children. This is
not
what
to bring this full circle.
That's
you got the R. Kelly, who was abused, who then himself became an abuser.
Exactly.
If you do not disrupt the cycle, okay,
it will continue to perpetuate itself.
It's self-perpetuating. So guess what, though? All those handlers that knew how to groom girls, they're free. All the handlers and the movers and shakers that engaged in sex with young girls who had, think about it. See, some women, now let's get on these women real quick. Some women, they might mess with dudes, but they feel there's women that can control women better than they can control men. Like, to men, they're subservient. But, like, they can turn women out because women like them. See, the bisexual female that got more control over girls than she do men. See, that's out there.
It's all a power fight. We touched that, and everything that you're saying is correct. That's why I made the point those people are in it for power. Whether you're talking about a female in the version of a predator where we're using Jada as our example. Not to say she is or isn't, just what we thought it looked like, right? Let me make that clear. I'm not saying she is a predator. I'm saying, but that's what my first thought was when I heard her messing with him. Now, that being said, people who are real predators, male and females, they're in it for the power. And I tell people all the time, I meet women who ain't really lesbians who got in lesbian relationships based off they could find power there. And people was like, you really think that? I said, yeah. I said, because I see how they treating them. What are you talking about?
Oh,
They
getting money. They getting stuff bought for them. They getting taken care of. The females doing for them what dudes won't. So they use them. And that's why a lot of some of the lesbian lovers are upset. They feel like they got used, and they do get used.
Well, that's because they're not aware of game and how the game works. That you think you are, but because you're lacking the lifelong abuse that men go through with dealing with women, and where you're going to take your stance at is different than if you're a woman and you decide that now play on the other team. We're built a different way based off how it's going to work. Like I always tell people, men are used to rejection. You get told no your whole life. That's what it is. It's mostly no. So therefore, you take that abuse and you learn how to work around it as a dude, kicking game, talking to women, cold calling, whatever you want to call that shit. It is harder when you are male based off that. And women find out the hard reality when they go to the other side, that it's not as easy as it was when you were getting men, because all you really had to do was wait for men to come to you. You were going to get a certain amount of fish. The good goal was to get a fish that was worth something. That doesn't always happen. That's why you be irritated.
Yep.
You know, so look, I had you on here for an hour, right? Picking your brain, talking about R. Kelly, talking about how people hurt people who are hurt people. And I just appreciate you allow me to pick your mind and have this dialogue with someone that wasn't going to be like, so you trying to defend him? Like, nah, I just want to know why the rest of the people didn't get locked up. Like, that's really what I'm asking. And not think I was attacking them. Like, and could give me some insight on the abuse. I appreciate you so much, Will, for that.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, bro. I appreciate the dialogue. There are other levels that we could discuss as far as how the trauma, it's a hot topic right now, but this goes on every day in our neighborhoods, bro.
Every level.
This goes on every day in our family.
Every level. Like anything you can point out is at that level. Whether you're talking about your house, your friend's house, at junior high, elementary, high school, you hear about it all the time. I'm not shocked by the behavior. I'm upset that so many people are letting it happen. Like I said, the people that are complacent in it, bro. Like that's the part. I mean, when you allow this shit to happen is what irritates me. Like, you could talk about Penn State, you can talk about anywhere, anything, where people have done some creepy shit and there's other people that were involved to let the shit happen.
Yep. So I appreciate it, man. We won't get this solved overnight, but
definitely.
I mean, I like the healthy dialogue. I know a lot of people get on social media and they make up stuff to talk about, and it's an emotional response, but you don't really understand what you're talking about. You just go in there because the powers that be told you who to hate. That's what's crazy. They told you who to hate, and you follow right behind them and say, "I hate you."
But you got
not realizing you should hate everybody that's involved.
Of course, because they got sheep mentality, and I find it. I'm not gonna say it's my job, but I find it to be my pleasure to help some of those people not be sheep anymore. Just by having this kind of dialogue with someone like you, where they just listen and be like, all right, I see what they're talking about. Like, they're not saying he shouldn't go to jail, but they make a valid point if there's other people who are complicit in that behavior and they should have had their asses locked up too, because if not, you continue that cycle. And if you really care, you don't want the cycle to continue. That's not debatable. It's just not.
Yep.
So, yeah. So I appreciate you coming on the show, chopping it up with me. I enjoyed it as always. You know what I'm saying? Always a pleasure.
All right, man. Well, don't take so long next time, man. Have me back on. I enjoyed kicking it with you, the conversation, the exchange of information. I truly appreciate it, bro. And until next time.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
So as I slide up out of here, once again, special shout out to Mr. Will Granderson for coming on the show. I appreciate him more than y'all will ever know. And I've been your man, Simon Phoenix. This has been Shots Fired. You know what it is. Like, share, and subscribe. Holla at your boy. I'm gone.